All right, now I forgot to turn the mute off on the or turn the mute back on the microphone. Anyway, yeah. Oh boy, good evening out there in Sidetrack Sunday land. I'm Ray. Welcome to Sidetrack Sunday number 4 for the month of March 2025. It's March the 23rd for those who may have forgotten. And of course, you all know that I forget that from time to time. So, hey, it is what it is. So, hopefully, I've got something interesting to talk about tonight, but we're going to go get ahead and get started like we usually do and take a look at our participants list and see who all is hanging out with us tonight. And it's rather light so far. I don't know if people forgot that I was on or if the memo got dropped in the mail. Of course, with the way my mail's been running here lately, it wouldn't be surprising. Any rate, we've got Mr. Almar in the house. We've got JP from the Beaumont Hills subdivision that just jumped in. Welcome in. We've got Dave over at DB Tech. We've got Mr. James over at the Dundas Junction Model Railroad. We got Mr. Joe Rader over at the Black Rock Central. We've got John Train, BFGR. Welcome in. We've got Greg over at Midsummer Railway, and I did see that you left me a comment on the last video. I haven't had a chance to reply yet there, sir. I will take care of that a little bit later. We've got Mr. Bob over at PK&W Model Works. We've got myself, but I'm never here, so we won't go there. We've got Mr. Ron Moen, and we've got John number 2, a.k.a. The Count, over at the Schuylkill River Valley. Welcome in, everybody. I'm sure that we're going to end up, wait a minute, Clintonville Model Railroad. Welcome in. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, that's Brian. I'm sorry. Good evening, Brian. Let's see. Hey, Opa Dodge just showed up. Hey, welcome in there, Opa Dodge. I know that you and I have been chatting back and forth on our videos this week. And that is going to be part of the show tonight as to why or what's been going on, or not everything that's been going on, but, talking about our railroads and things that happen that we aren't prepared for. And, we have to go back and work on. So it is what it is. Let's see. Did somebody else just jump in? No. And I just got a notification for something. Oh, okay. That was just a YouTube notification. Not a big deal. All right. So here we are. Bob was asking, who is John number 1? And that would be Mr. John Dilly. That would be Grandpa Rails. So that's who that is. And we've got Todd Armstrong in a trackside action that just showed up. Welcome in, Todd. Names. Not sure. Yeah, it's always John's birthday. Where is JJ? He needs this. Oh, anyway, I am not sure that I have. I was just looking for something. You're going to have to pardon me for a minute. I was looking at we've started a running list of folks that show up in our site or in our live stream. So, hey, JJ just showed up from the Great Northern. Welcome in. Names, I have a hard time following them all. Yes, and that's one of the reasons why the Sidetrack Sunday Gang finally, after almost 5 years, we started a Excel spreadsheet that has the channel names and the person, at least their first name, behind it, so that way we kind of keep a running list of who's who. So, and that list is we're trying to keep that list up to date. So if you are new here, which most of you are not, most of you have been here before, But those that do jump in, you know, try to let us know if you have a channel name that does not include your actual name. Make sure you get it over to us so that way we can update our list and keep it going. So that way we can go and take care of that. Let's see. Here's Mr. Bob asking, good to see you've been working out that shoulder. See the weight on the table behind. Yeah, that was one of the things that I did, that I had been doing. I haven't done it recently because the shoulder's been great. The shoulder's been fine. You know, it's funny that it finally let up, 4 weeks ago now. And after it let up on a Thursday morning, the Friday night bowling after that was probably one of the worst sets I've had in years. I think I barely broke 420. So it was not a good night. But since then, I've shot 661, 657, and 630, or 651 and 637 this past week. So, you know, hey, I'm doing much better. Yes, it's much better. Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's see. I think we had a few more people pop in here. We've got Mr. Ken Amos, Beano 51's in the house. Let's see. There was somebody else that just popped in here too, and that would be Mr. Dwight Curley over at the Curley Express. And Tammy and Ray are here from Mom and Son Train Rail fans. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. So, I guess what I ought to do is go ahead and get started with, you know, what I actually had in the description, which is distractions. The things that we run up against as hobbyists, and it doesn't matter what hobby that you're in. Obviously, we're model railroaders, so we'll stick to that. But you know, this wonderful ride that we're on that we call life has the interesting way of throwing curveballs at you when you least expect it or when you least need it. You know, it's just, it never seems to fail. You get into a groove and you finally get things moving, and then all of a sudden things come to a screeching halt. And that's happened to me twice so far in the last 4 weeks, where, you know, life has gotten in the way of being down here. And trust me, you know, we've all said it before, but it's a huge thing amongst us all, and that is the fact that family first. Take care of family, you take care of your personal stuff, and then you worry about going ahead and editing videos and uploading videos and doing shows like this and so on and so forth. You know, you got to take care of you got to take care of the family, and everything else will eventually work its way out. And really, in reality, that's exactly what's been going on. There's nothing earth-shattering going on over here per se. But there's been some things that have obviously taken my my focus away from working on the railroad, and we just got photobombed by Emma. You know, so it is what it is. And I guess the biggest thing is how do you deal with it? How do you bounce back from it? How do you get back into that groove that you had? Hey, John Benaki's in the house. Welcome in. So how do you recover? How do you get back to what you were doing, get back in the groove and get back, hey, for lack of a better term, and get on a pun here, get back on the train, get back on the rails. Sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes whatever that distraction was real quick and painless, and you just move on and you're able to deal with it. Sometimes it's something that's not going to go away real quick, and you have to figure out how you got to take care of that. And then you have to come back, and then you're like, okay, where was I? What was I doing? And, you know, where do I need to go next? And I think that's a big thing, you know, amongst anybody and any hobby, but namely for us, is, you know, getting back into the groove. And JP just put something in here. I get into a task and sometimes It triggers some good progress. Absolutely. Exactly. Absolutely. Delmarva Rail fan, welcome in. Let's see. Delmarva Rail fan happens to be, I think we had his name in here. We don't. How do we not have Delmarva Rail fan in here? How do we not have them in here? Hey, Three Dubs is in the house. Welcome in. And Happy Valley Hobbies is here too. And that would be Ed. Welcome in. Steven, is that Delmarva Rail fan? I'm sorry. I'm trying to, like I said, we're trying to keep the list updated. Oh, I was just trying to figure that one out. Anyway. Okay, hey, Valley's 56XX, welcome in. A long time no see there too. So anyway, I think that JP had something up here, and I think we were talking about that, and then it's when I saw Delmarva Rail fan. So let me go back through these comments here. And Opa Dodge had something that actually worked better and smarter when I am sick. Feel too crappy to have it fixed on mistakes. You know, the funniest thing about it, you're right, though. I mean, I found when I had the 2 bouts of COVID, the 2 bouts of the showstopper, the things just were different, But anyway, but you're right. You slow down because you're sick, and you don't make those stupid mistakes that you would make if you were 100% healthy and rushing through it. So, let's see, what else have we got here? We got one here from Bob. I think one thing to avoid is allowing lower grade issues to become distractions in the first place. Some can't be avoided, some can. Absolutely. It's one of those things. You're right. Some things can be a quick, little blip on the radar and you move along, but some of the things take your attention, and those are the ones that I'm really interested to see what what people are talking about is how do you deal with those long-term ones, those ones that may last a couple of days that need your attention. Those are the ones that hurt because they knock you off your Stephen is wigwag. Okay. Yeah, I knew that. Oh my gosh. Anyway, there's a good one. JP says sometimes I look to improve what I already have to distract me from building the next level. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. See, I basically have a single level layout back there, so I don't have to worry about going upward. I just have to worry about working on what's there now because it's massive. Let's see, what else have we got here? Let's see. All right, JJ's got something here. Model railroading seems to be the infinite distraction from the hobby. Doing something to discover 10 other distractions that need to be added to the list. Yeah. And the thing is and I mentioned this in the video not that long ago, where I was working on the FP7As. I'm working on the hill back there, over that way. And I've got some other things that are going on too. And the reason why I'm bouncing around a little bit like that, well, the 3D printing is the other thing, but the reason why I'm bouncing around like that is because of the fact that let's say painting the locomotives or painting something else, you have to wait for that paint to dry. So while you're waiting for the paint to dry, and if you don't have any other distractions, what else can I do on the railroad while that's doing that? And that's why I started going back and working on the hill over there again to try and go ahead and still make progress. So yeah, you're right. You get distracted with the distractions of the railroad itself. So let's see. Todd's saying hi to everybody. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Oh, thank you. Ray, when is the open house at B&O Railroad Museum with CSX 911? I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry. I'd have to look it up, to be perfectly honest. Let's see. We got Mr. Anthony from the Georgia Sunbelt that just jumped in. Let's see. So, like I said, that's one of the things that I've been doing here lately is going between different projects and just trying to keep forward progress on the railroad. Trying to get it to where at least I feel as though I'm accomplishing something. It may not be ultimately at the end of the day what needs to be done, but I'm accomplishing something. Let's see. Opa Dodge. I just finished ballasting all of Bremen. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, I know you've been working on that station, and like I told you, I love what you did with the place. I really do. That really looked good. I can understand not being happy with the color. Trust me, I've run into that a couple of times on this thing. So, yeah, it's one of those things. You do it, and then you come back a day or two later, go, yeah, you know what? That don't look right. Let me do it again. Yeah. Ken Amos says 1 day at a time and just keep moving forward. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Barry Olson is in the house. Welcome in. Let's see. He's saying I usually watch every other week, but missed last week's because I couldn't find it. Yeah, well, we do have a Facebook page. It's the Sidetrack Sunday Facebook page, and we do have the schedules up there actually for now, the end of March and all of April. Pardon me. Normally I have a video that comes out on Friday that tells everybody whose channel to go look at. And then on Sunday, hopefully before noon normally, we usually try to get the link for that night up on the Facebook page and also on our community pages. I know 2 weeks ago, Brian from the Iron Horse route actually did Sidetrack Sunday, or was it? Yeah, it was 3 weeks ago. And unfortunately, I had lost power and had absolutely no way of posting links to anything, because the internet and all was down. So I was pretty much dead in the water. But we do try to keep everybody updated, Barry. If you don't have the link if you aren't on Facebook, check the community pages. And like I said, if you look at any of my normal videos that come out on Friday, and of course, there was this morning because of some things that happened this week, it actually came out. My latest episode 9, actually hit the net this morning at 8 a.m. But the links to everybody's channel is in there. So make sure you're subscribed to us, all 5 of us, because we're the schedule kind of is right now a little bit in flux because of some things that were going on with scheduling conflicts. So it's not the normal John, then Dave, then Bob, then me. Here it is. Bob had last week. I've got tonight. Bob's got next week, and then I've got the week after. So it's going to be one of the 2 of us for the next 4 weeks. All good though. We'll try to keep you up to date. Try to keep everybody up to date as to who's got what, when, why, and how. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find. And that was one of the things that Brian over at the Iron Horse just posted this week, and I looked at that, and we'll get into. Let's hold that question for later, James. Don't let me forget about it. Don't let me forget about that one. Hey, Rail Artist, welcome in. Welcome in. And that would be Mr. Mike over at the Rail Artist. So, yeah, absolutely. You're right. I mean, we've got a path, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Let's see. Let's see. I know I'm trying to still get caught up on the chat here, guys and gals. In model railroading, we don't wait for the paint to dry. It takes too long. We wait for the ballot. The trick is to stop buying new projects before finishing the old ones. All this is, yeah, that's true. I'm not buying anything. It's just stuff that I've got laying around. I'm like, you know what? I need to work on that. Let's see. Been spraying enamel. Yuck, stinky. Yeah, that's the reason why I spray acrylics. The acrylics work just as well, and it's no fuss, no muss. It's all water based. So, okay, because I'm trying to get there to see it. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned this before, folks. Before I get too much further, you know, I'm not that far from the B&O Railroad Museum. If you are going to be in town, hit me up through email, hit me up through Facebook, whatever. I mean, it's either way. And let me know that you're going to be in town. You'd like to stop by here and take a look at the railroad. That'd be great. You know, it doesn't. I'm good with that. I just need a little bit of heads up. Let's see. What else have we got going on here? Hey, Michael Schuster's in the house. Long time no see. I did a short progression for the Colton. I think I remember seeing something about that, JP. Not sure if I actually saw it. Not that quick, James. Been working on the rail layout. It seems like I want to add more. If I add more, need a bigger power supply. That's one of those things. Hey, Caboose 1973 Channel 1 is in the house, and that would be Dave. Welcome in. Yeah, like I said, James, hold on to that Kato thing. Hold on to that Kato thing because we're going to swing back onto it. All right. Tried running seldom used locomotives today. Disaster. You know, most of mine haven't run in over a month and a half, Joe. Oop. Oh, man. Sorry to hear that. Prayers to you guys and your family, bud. Seriously. Oh, Delmarva Railfan's also a DC modeler. Hey! Those of us that are DC got to stick together. Let's see. Bob's through something else in here. Interruptions are inevitable, but I think if you leave projects organized when you have one, absolutely. You know, it's one of those things. You got to keep moving. Just got to keep moving forward. You know, you got that stuff off to the side. You know what you need to get done. So, you know, as glue's drying or paint's drying, you can focus on a different project for a few minutes. And like I said, forward progress. You know, did I see that Deep Run Mike is in here? I certainly did. And of course, JD is here. If I didn't say hi to Grandpa Rails, welcome in, folks. Let's see. I'm still trying to catch up on the chat here. Hey, I finally caught back up. Sheesh. Anyway, okay. So yeah, that's basically it. You know, it's you know, you've got to me, you have to have those, I guess, for lack of a better term, those side projects, that those easy ones. If there is such a thing in model railroading. Hey, Ken's Back Shop, welcome in. You know, you've got to have those real quick ones sitting off to the side that you know aren't going to take too long. You kind of keep them hidden, and you're waiting for the opportune time to work on them. Yeah, I've got a couple of those that are still sitting back there on the bench. You know, The layout workbench follows me around. So, one of the things that I did want to talk about, though, here it is. We all know that my daughter ended up getting me a 3D printer for Christmas. And I have been fiddling and futzing and messing around with this thing. And, I've printed out a few cabooses. I've printed out some other things. I've actually got something else. Talk about a side project. I got a project sitting up here that, most folks in here think I'm completely lost my mind if I ever start on that one, but it's okay. But I don't remember if it was a video that I did. Pardon me a minute. Had something decide to fly in my eye. That wasn't nice. 3D printing is another distraction. Yeah, it can be. I will give it that. I will say that it can be. Sorry, I'm trying to get the overhead camera into position here, if I can. Yeah, just put it right in front of my freaking face. Why not? All right, this is not happy. I'm trying to remember how I did this the last time. That's what the problem is. I think I got it. Because I was going to bring, it's almost right. There we go. Hey, look at that. Maybe. Sort of. Kind of. Maybe. All right. We don't think we know you have. Thanks. Appreciate that. Broke a wire in the Sperry cab, bad decoder in the shade, found the SD9 found bad. Jeez. Yikes, Joe. Okay, let's see here. Let me get that out of the way. Hey, Santa Fe Bob, welcome in. Long time no see. All right. Let's like I said, I'm still trying to get the overhead camera to play nice here. Give me a minute. I think I got it. We'll see. All right. So let me go ahead and transition this thing over. And I am going to, it's funny because I just saw a message there from Dave over at DB Tech wondering how the 3D printing stuff was going. Well, anyway, like I was saying, I don't know if it was a video or if it was one of the live streams. And it may have been the last live stream that I did. We were talking about the 3D prints. And somebody had mentioned something to me or left a comment about somebody out there on Thingiverse had made car cards or car card boxes. Let's see. Clintonsville Model Railroad. I don't have any bad news. My BLI GP30 is coming tomorrow, and I bought the BLI 20. Oh, nice. Nice. I'll send you my project list. Anyway, so I went on the Thingiverse and I found the box. Now, I've already gone ahead and gotten a little bit ahead here because I wanted to show you all what I came up with for doing what I wanted to do. And that is one of the things that the fellow did here is he put in these little boxes here so that you could use, and I forgot what the company is, but you can actually snap them in there and you can snap any number of these boxes side by side. And the other thing of it is he also printed out these side pieces. So you got a spot here for your uncoupling pick. you've got those two squares again so that you can hook this to the side of the box. And then there's a slot down here for putting in, hey, Possum Bayou's in the house. What's going on there, Rusty? So you have the ability to put a shelf into this and use this as your shuffle shelf. Wonderful idea. I was like, this is going to be cool. Well, of course, the first thing I did is I printed out a left-hand side. Then after I printed out the left, I thought that I said to go ahead and print out the right. Well, no, it printed out another left. So I have two lefts and a right. Exactly, JP. You got it. And I'm about to show you what I came up with for the Beauville and Newtown for this thing. One of the other features of these boxes is the fact that he cut a hole in the bottom here, and you can use a clamp or something of the nature to hold that to your layout. Great idea. Love this. All right. I was like, this is really cool. The problem was that on my layout, especially out here behind me, it's a main walkway because you come down the steps and then once you come down the steps, you go left, you go behind me, and on the other side of this wall off to my right, your left, is the laundry room. So the problem is if you put this thing in the down position like this, it sticks out from the edge of the layout, and it sticks out way too far. And I'm like, that's not going to work. There's no way that I can do that use this thing in that way. So I did. And we've talked about, Opa Dodge and I have talked about this one off and on our, like I said, our chats in our little video streams. And that is the fact of doing proof of concept. Well, you know what yeah, Ken, that's right. And I thought that on the little selector knob that I had selected the right side. Apparently it jumped on me and selected the left. So I printed out two lefts and one right. But anyway, that's all done. A long slot is the best. Oh boy. So anyway, I this afternoon started working on proof of concept. So I went into my scrap box of 2x4s because that's what's holding better part of the layout up. And I came up with this. So I've got angle brackets that were left over from when I put up the backdrop. And I'm like, the other night I looked at it and I'm like, well, shoot, that'll work. So what I did is I already went ahead and already tested this out. So you've got this. Yeah. Here we go. So you've got that. Now let's see if I can manage to really screw this up. There we go. Okay. I'm using a piece of foam core again, proof of concept. So in the down position, you now have this fairly big area to go ahead and shuffle. You put the car cards down to do the shuffling. When you're done, or we're done with an operating session, you can actually take this whole thing and lift it straight up. And now it's out of the way. This is very minimal impact into the walkways. And then, of course, like I said, if I've got folks over here doing an operating session, and like I said, that this is only proof of concept. You can swing this thing down, and now you've got basically a small desk to go ahead and lay the car cards out on and work it. So, it worked out. There are some things I'm going to have to do, especially when I go ahead and put I'm going to put wood in here. I'm not going to use the foam. I was thinking that I could use the foam core, but I got a feeling it's going to be a little too flexible. So, this I think will work. It's going to take a little bit of tweaking, but again, the proof of concept will work. Now, what's interesting is these sides will print out in about 20 to 25 minutes. And the boxes take about an hour. So, it's not a 5-minute job to go ahead and do this, but I do like the idea, and I think it looks a lot better. Nothing wrong with the ones that I built. Nothing wrong with the ones that I've got sitting up on the layout now. However, there's always room for improvement. So, hey, good night, Chris. You could have a built-in drink holder. The funniest thing of it is, JJ, one of the things that I am going to do is once I get some, I want to put some fascia up, and I'm not there yet because I haven't finished kind of putting the scenery up yet either in most places. But one of the things I am going to do, and this is a neat solution, I could either 3D print them, or I know that you can go to a boating supply store or an outdoor gardening store or something like that. They make cup holders that you can mount on a wall. And that's what I'm going to do with this here. So that way, if somebody is going to be, especially for the two guys that would be back at Harrisburg and Richmond, the fellow over at Beauville Yard, those guys, whoever that would be, that's going to be standing there for a while, that makes perfect sense to have a drink holder there for them. So that way they don't have to, run around to figure out where they put their soda or their water, iced tea that I drink at night. But where I'm going. So that's kind of the plan. So I'm really interested to see what happens when I really sit down and play with this a little bit more and get it straightened out. Hey, Sparky 107's in the house. Evening, Dave. Hey. We are just settling down from night. Take Nathan to the train station for a 9 a.m. Gotcha. I'm hoping you all had fun up there. I'll have to go back and catch some of the video. He has a 24-hour trip home. Wow. Holy moly. I thought he was drinking from a hat. Okay. Been a great 4 days, been very busy. Cool deal. When I bought my gaming table, I have drink holders that I can slide in. Exactly. So, I mean, that's kind of the idea would be eventually. I'm not there yet. So, but like I said, I really do like the proof of concept. And the funniest thing of it is I was thinking I was going to have to find some way to keep this shelf from going too far. And I forgot, if I mounted it against the 2x4, guess what? It can only go so far. So that's not a problem. And of course, to lift it back up, you're back in the upright position and it's now out of the way. So I think that this is a great solution. I'm really interested to see what happens with this when I get over to the one over at Beauville Yard, because it's 8 boxes. Hey, B&C Systems Shortline, what's going on? How you doing, John? What's going on, Johnny? Oh, man. So yeah, so this here was a neat little side project. Again, just something to mess with. Um, and I will say, you know, because of the fact that somebody in the community brought it up that, hey, somebody out there has got, if it folds down for temp, okay, what's this? If it folds down for temp use, people will forget when it's down and run into it. Well, not necessarily. Well, see, the thing of it is, my thoughts on this is it would be down during an operating session, and when we're done with the operating session, we fold it back up and out of the way. So while we're doing the op session, it would be in the down position, but it would be after the op session that it would be back in the up position. Absolutely, Bob. Like I was just saying, the one over at Beauville is going to have 8 boxes. So that thing is going to be, I don't have, do I have a tape measure over here? Yes, I do. Look at that. Hey. Each one of these boxes is 2.5 inches. So, you know, you're going to have 8 of these. So it's going to be pretty long. Sharp spikes should be mounted on the side. I'll have to talk. I'll talk to the Knights of the Rhomboid Table to see if they have any extra morning stars floating around. Where is the beer cooler? Oh man, did you have the flu too there, Johnny? Do four boxes. Yeah, I could do it that way, Rail Art, but to be honest, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it as an 8 thing. Just have it all right there. So the shelf should be deep enough. And I do believe it is. Grab the ones here from Weichert Industrial, since that's the closest. Oh, let's see. Which is something else I'm actually thinking about doing too, is putting a lip on the front of this, so that way the stuff can't slide off the front. But I mean, as you can see, I mean, you can definitely, you know, lay down you can lay down the car cards right there and pick them up, and then, you know, put them into whatever slot that they need to be in. So, yep. So yeah, I mean, this to me, this is perfect. I mean, I really like this. I really do. Yeah, my daughter had flu A. So, and absolutely, JP, customization is an absolute. I mean, everybody, there's great ideas out there all over the place. And to be perfectly honest, turning them into something that fits your railroad is king. I mean, it's obviously, I mean, especially now with the 3D printers, Thingiverse, there's a couple others. I don't remember them off the top of my head. Actually, let's see. There's Thingiverse. There is, dang nabbit, Maker World. Let's see. That's 2 of the ones that I've hit. So yeah. Can you print a Rhomboid Table? Ray, depending on the length of trains running up switch lists and train orders, it's fun this way. No car guide. Yeah, you know, when I had the layout before this one, and I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually, no, we'll keep it this way. I had done switch lists and train order. Well, mainly the switch lists. The biggest issue that I had with those for what I was doing back then was finding a way that I could reuse the switch lists. In other words, I actually, and in fact, I've still got them. They're back in the work area. They're part of the older stuff. But what I did is I actually laminated them and went out and bought Sharpies that were erasable, and figured that was going to work great, and it didn't. Originally, I was using pencil on those, and of course, after a while, I mean, they were just getting nasty. Hey, Ray Bertelson's in the house. Welcome in. Isn't Flu B the thing you connect it? Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to let that. and you're right, JP. The lack of, or the not duplicating things is great, and that's the reason why, when you watch some of the op sessions that I did, what it is, Alta Varga, welcome in. When I'm doing the op sessions, when a freight train comes into either one of the two hidden yards back there, unless it's a local, we're talking the through freights. The local or the throughs, those cars, when they get in, those car cards go to the back of the box. So in other words, let's say the train comes in and this car was already there. And these two or there was two cars already there. I pulled the train in, and I'm the yard master for Richmond, and I've got two more cars that are box cars. They go to the back of the list, and that's how it works. Unless, of course, we're doing the locals, and the locals actually have the way bills, which were these guys. And they're 4-cycle way bills. So it'll cycle through 4 times before it goes back into being able to be used for either the local or for the through freights. So that's kind of how I'm working it, at least as far as the car cards go. So there isn't randomness, but it shouldn't be duplicated. In other words, you're not going to see the same car on the same train every time. So, it's just, like I said, it's just a rotation of how things are doing or how things are done over here. So, and eventually I'm probably going to end up with I'm going to try and get some more rolling stock, and I'm going to have more cars to be able to rotate through, the system. But, yeah. 7 away from a 1,000. Nice, James. We'll have to see if we can't get you up there. We'll have to see what you get when we get you up there. What do you win when you get a full house of cards? Oh, really? I'm happy with 75%. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and jump off of this. Let's transition back to the main cam. Boom. Because James has already mentioned it a couple of times, and I figure it's going to be one of those things that needs to be discussed, or should be discussed. James has done this junction. So, basically what it is, last week, Brian over at the Iron Horse route, had made, and I don't know if John or one of the other mods can go ahead and throw his channel link up there, but Brian over at the Iron Horse had mentioned that he was messing around with a system that Kato, or Kato, depending on how you want to talk about it, that's Kato or Kato, had come up with a wireless DC controller. Basically, subscribe to Dundas Kid. Nicely done, Opa Dodge. And if you are just now figuring that out, good luck. Anyway, so Brian had started messing with this thing that Kato had come up with that is a Bluetooth wireless DC controller. You can use your phone, your tablet, or your cell phone, your tablet, to be able to run trains at DC. Now, from what I could figure out from looking at the website and looking at what Brian did and looking at what the Kato had actually put up on YouTube as well, it's a very interesting system. The drawback for me would be the fact that since this is a 2-track main, you would need 2 controllers, which are $170 a piece. Still, granted, probably a heck of a lot cheaper than converting almost 100 locomotives over to DCC and then getting a DCC system on top of it. So the funniest thing of it is when he mentioned to me in the Sidetrack Sunday chat that he was looking at this thing, I don't know if I made mention it to him or if I made mention to the group. I think it was just to him. I told him, years ago, when I first came up with the idea of doing what I'm doing with the wired throttles, they had on Amazon a wireless throttle that was extremely similar to what I'm using that's wired. I asked a question of the folks that actually designed the thing and were selling it, if the RF signature was selectable. In other words, let's harken back a second to RC cars, for instance, or RC airplanes, or even boats for that matter. Every controller or radio controller had a frequency that it worked off of. And that way you could have multiple people with the same style controller, be at different frequencies, so that you didn't interfere with them. Considering the fact that I would have needed 2 of them, I wanted to make sure that what I was buying, I wasn't going to run into that problem where you were on controller A and all of a sudden train B started moving. So it was like, and they never got back to me. So I didn't go with the wireless. I went with the wired. And trust me, James, I know there was a lot of folks. There was a lot of clubs out there that had wireless DC, but they were some of those systems were rather complex, to say the least. But at any rate, I had thought about it. I looked at it and was like, that's interesting. So what it would mean is anybody that came over, the only thing that they would have needed to do, would be load up the software on their phone. Here it is. I'm not even would be to load their load the stuff up on their phone and go from there. They'd be able to control a train without having to worry about anything else if I went over to the Kato system. But I don't know. And it's 340 bucks plus tax is still a lot of money. So, it is what it is. So for the moment, I'll stay with the wired system and we'll go from there. I thought the deck was all jokers. Oh, are we still playing around with the House of Cards? You only have to buy it once. Yeah, this is true, JP. This is absolutely true. And like I said, to a point, when you sit back and think about the age of a lot of the locomotives that I've got back there and how there a lot of them are just not, you'd have to do an awful lot of work to them to bring them up to DCC standards. Then you'd have to go ahead and get the decoders for it. And of course, you still need the command station. So, it's like, yeah, like I said, $170 for a single and $340 for two of them. And in the long run, it would probably be worth it. It probably would. But like I said, I'm happy with what I got for the moment. So it is what it is. Like I said, it might be one of those things that I look at a little bit later down the road. But for right now, yeah, what I've got works. It's called Patreon. What was this? It's a rough game. Most of us don't play with a full deck. No, most of the folks that are in here in chat certainly aren't playing with a full deck. Yeah, exactly. To go straight DCC, yeah, you'd have to swap out motors and reconfigure stuff, and then buying the decoders on top of it. It's like, yeah, now as long as it's not an OnlyFans setup. Oh my gosh. Oh no! That trust me, JP. If you should know by now that there is no holds barred in these damn chats. Trust me. I would expect nothing less from this group. Oh my gosh. I would expect nothing less from this group. Absolutely, Ken. It's what here it is. I've been messing around with DC now for, I tell everybody I've basically been doing this for 40 some years. And the DC is what I grew up with. It's what I know. And to me, it's just easier. But it's okay. Oh, posted a link. Oh boy. Yeah. That isn't right, Anthony. Nobody ever said anybody in this group was right. But they're not wrong either, so so us DCC guys will now go backwards, buy the Kato system and all the DC locomotives from Maryland, Pennsylvania train shows, and Eureka. Trains are cheap again. Oh man. The DC flu. Oh, you all ain't right. I love it. Oh man. So yeah, like I said, it's one of those things. Yeah, you weigh it out. You definitely weigh it out. I mean, doing something like Cato's doing is great for those of us like myself that have, like I said, 100 and some DC locomotives, and a lot of them are, 70 years old. Well, at least 50 years old. Some of them are older than that. Yeah, mom and pop shops. I got you. Mom and pops. Do they still exist? Yeah, and there's someone's sub count is higher on that here, and since they hacked the security cameras. Okay. Oh my gosh. So anyway, but that's basically all I wanted to touch on tonight. Yeah, I mean there are still a lot of folks out there that are running DC. Yeah, and then there's because of the fact that some of the railroads or some of the locomotives that I want you can't get economically in DCC, even if you wanted to. And yes, the Kato even has a sound box, but that's not mobile. That stays in one place. And I'm really not interested in that. Like I said, if I was going to do anything, it would be the wireless controllers. That looks really interesting. So, oh yeah. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. That's the one I was looking for. At Train Show can get tons of, yeah, absolutely. Or you get them that they're even cheaper, but they don't run. You take them home, you take them apart, you clean them up. Come to find out, it just needed to be cleaned. Exactly, Dave. That's exactly what I was just saying. You go to a train show and you find a locomotive for $5. Sometimes you can find them for $5. Normally they're not, but you might find one for, okay, let's be a little bit more realistic. 15 to $20. And you take it home, you take it apart, you clean it up, put it back together, and all of a sudden you've got a running locomotive again. And like I said, a lot of times it's because of the fact that some folks either don't know how to do the maintenance, or they don't understand that maintenance needs to be done. Or sometimes what happens too is it's a state stuff. And the people that are selling it have no idea what they've got and no idea how to test it. So, sometimes you can find some real diamonds in the rough out there, and other times, well, man, not so much. Let's see. What do we got here? You're on the right path, exploring new tech. Exactly. It's not something, it's funny. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. There is no one size fits all for everything. That's the way that a lot of people would perceive it. That's the way what a lot of people would like it. Hey, this is what we've got, and this is what you need to do. Not necessarily. I mean, I'm sure the guy that went ahead and came up with the, with the idea for the car card boxes here, never envisioned somebody going ahead and putting a screw on the end of the thing and making it to where it folded. I'm sure that really didn't probably cross his mind. But that's the thing, and that's the ingenuity part of working on these railroads. And I know when I was chatting with Opa Dodge the other day, like I said, through video, through the comments, repurpose, reuse, recycle. That's what this thing's do. I mean, I sit there. I can't imagine if I would have started this thing from scratch, having to buy the lumber, the scenic materials, so on and so forth, to do what I'm doing back there would have been ridiculous. In fact, the wife probably would have had me living in a shed by now if I had to do it that way. You have to figure out what's in your budget. You have to figure out how much of it you're going to build and how much of it you're going to buy. And how much, some of it could be kit bash, some of it could be modified. And that's the thing. That's what makes this, to me, that's one of the things that makes this hobby so cool, is the fact that, hey, I can do this and I can modify it to make it work for what I want it for. So, it's all in what you want and how you want to mess with it. Really, in reality, at the end of the day, it's all good. And to me, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. It's the way that you do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's funny, I actually had somebody over here last night that had a railroad as a kid. And when he came down here last night and looked, he's like, yeah, he says, I had a railroad when I was a kid. He says, but I didn't have anything like this. And, I basically told him, how this all got started and where I was headed with it. And then I went over what happened to me years ago with the original PA1 Beauville and Newtown paint scheme. And, how when I went into, I had it posted up on a particular site and got blasted because it wasn't a prototypical paint scheme. And I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. It's my damn railroad. And that's what turned me off from that one, and I left. But hey, Dave, welcome in from Stormy Sky Rail Productions. Nice. Good to see you. I am throwing rocks at Artie. Oh boy. Anyway. So, it's just one of those things. You got to do what makes you happy within the hobby. Let's put it this way. I put the stuff out there, and it's not because I'm looking for acceptance or anything like that. I'm looking for somebody to tell me sometimes, and it's happened, sometimes somebody will go ahead and shoot me a message off to the side and say, hey, what you did was really cool, but have you thought about doing it this way? The door is always open. And I'm certainly not going to let it hit anybody in the ass as they walk out the door. It is what it is. There's always something better. There's always something better around the corner, or somebody has a different thought of how you're tackling something. It was the same thing Ken Amos will tell you. Him and I were talking about the transition going from the elevated or the interurban up here on the hill over into Beauville. There's a transition that has to happen. And I was sitting there trying to figure out how to do it, and he all of a sudden comes all the way in from out in Westminster one afternoon, drives all the way over here with a piece of foam and says, hey, do it this way. It'll work a lot better. It'll give you a nice smooth transition, and you won't have to worry about doing all that other stuff that you were talking about doing. And I'm like, well, damn. The thing of it is guess what? The piece of foam is still sitting back in the work area because I haven't gotten to that side yet. But anyway. Yeah, exactly. I think it's great. We're using our minds to create. And that's what this hobby is all about. Creating something. It absolutely is about creating your own little world. Take it easy, JJ. No, thanks for stopping in, bud. But that's the thing. We've all got our own way of getting from point A to point B. And sometimes it's get with it, Ray. Sometimes we need a little coaxing or a little bit of guidance to get us from point A to point B. Sometimes it's never a straight shot. It's not. So, it is what it is. Like I said, I think that's the coolest part of this community, and the folks that are over here in chat are the biggest supporters and the greatest group of folks that I think I've ever met. Like I said, there is no wrong answer, but there's always somebody that may have a solution to a problem that you don't see because you're in front of it all the time. You're looking at it going, how in the heck do I do this? And they look at it, go, I know exactly what he needs. And boom, all of a sudden, it's like somebody's on my doorstep going, hey, this is what you need. Take care of that problem you got downstairs. Okay. And Opa Dodge, I think it's amazing what you've got going on over there. I've said it numerous times, and I've told plenty of people about it. I find your layout incredible. I really do. For the fact that it's German Railroad in the middle of Ohio. And it's you've got your quote unquote 3-rail AC system. I find it amazing. I mean, I know I haven't been in a while. Things have been crazy. But I love watching your live streams because I can sit there and watch when I get a chance to look over and look at the trains. I just love watching the trains go around. I think it's great. So, it is. Just remember, it's all a bunch of horse poop. It's all a bunch of horse poop. Oh my gosh. I can't go to Canada for reasons I won't disclose. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, the thing is I started on YouTube in 2014. December of 2014. And it's been a wild ride. And the whole thing started because I was sitting there watching Miniature Wonderland on YouTube while I was catching up on some stuff at work. And one of the videos had stopped playing because they were building the airport at that point in time. And a thing, how they still do, recommended for you. And over to the side, there was this thing that said, YouTube model builders. And I'm like, huh. And I went and watched it, and I was sitting there and they were talking about, it was Derek and Vinny and Big Bill and Mike. And, I was enthralled. I was like, wow. And then I found out there was a whole slew of folks on YouTube that had that were doing model railroads. And I was like, wow, I had, Modeler Man Mike. Yep. I had no idea that folks were using YouTube to share ideas on model railroading until I saw that show. And then I got hooked. I got hooked in the trying to find anybody and everybody that was a model railroader on YouTube and started watching videos. And it did it, and it was great. I mean, and then of course I talked to my daughter, I was like, hey, I want to try and do this. She said, oh, it's no big deal. This is what you do, Dad. Bip, 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 and there you go. And I'm like, it was that easy. So yeah, that was the beginning of the lives. Exactly. Absolutely, Johnny. And it's been a wild ride up to this point. We've been through the showstopper. We've been through all sorts of other, and the thing is just like anything else, the hobby is going to ebb and flow. There's going to be comers and there's going to be goers. There's going to be people that are in it for the long haul. There's going to be other folks that are here today, gone tomorrow. It's just the nature of the beast. Things happen, lives change. I mean, I know that there's a few of the guys that I used to watch when I first started that aren't doing videos anymore. because they've yeah, it did. It took me 3. Joe Rader's 15 minutes away from me, not even. He's like 10 minutes away from me. It took me 3 years to find him. And you're right, James. I do agree. I think sometimes the lives are better. The only thing that I would say that I have with the live streams are great, but if you've got something that really needs some thought and really needs some background information and some more investigation, that there I think is better to go up on a video, because then you get the rest of the community on board with you thinking about the problem that you're trying to solve. The live streams, being on the fly like that, I don't think work as well for something like that. They can work, don't get me wrong, for smaller stuff. But some of the bigger issues that we run into, something like that, the live streams may or may not help. I think that the videos do a better job. That's just my take. Let's see. Rail Artist, what does it, to YouTube has been the same for me, more positive than negative. Absolutely. There's going to be those people. There's going to be. There always is. There always is. And it'll continue to happen. You know, and you got two ways of dealing with it. You either ignore them or you go ahead and say bye. You know, and nobody in here has ever done anything to me that would warrant me saying, you know what, you need to go away. So, you know, like I said, this group has been extremely supportive, and I really appreciate it. It's one of the things that I look forward to. I love being able to come down here, you know, once a week when I can. You know, like I said, that was originally a goal for this year, was to be down here once a week to do a video. And I haven't been able to hold up to that one. But being able to come in here and do these live streams, I absolutely love doing the live streams. Does Joyce know about this, Opadodge? Oh, let's see. I blame Sparky for getting me started on YouTube. You too, huh? I honestly think that Sparky had his hand in getting a bunch of us on live streams, or doing live streams, or on YouTube. Live for more fun if you're in the know and want community. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and like I said, I couldn't ask for a better group. And one of these days, I am going to make it a point to try and catch up with a lot of folks. I mean, I've caught up with quite a few. But I do want to, at some point, start taking some road trips to actually see some of the layouts that some of the folks are working on. I'd love to be able to get up or go ahead and catch up with Opadodge. I'd like to be able to catch up with Crooked Dave over at the Crooked River in Eastern. Crooked Dave. I don't know how that ever got started, but that's hilarious. You know, I've been down to see Anthony down at the Georgia Sunbelt, another fellow that's in the state that I didn't even know about, and you know, until a couple of years ago. It's like, holy cow. And then, of course, he was down where my daughter went to college for a year or for a semester. So it's like, well, this is amazing. So, you know, I like I said, I eventually want to catch up with more folks. I really, really do. I want to get around and see a lot more of the layouts. I'd love to catch up with Ian over to Chattanooga Southern. I'd love to see what he's got going on over there. I know Alan from the Mason-Dixon Railroad isn't that far away from me either. I know he doesn't actually have a layout yet, but I'd love to be able to get up there and every once in a while be able to give him a hand. The problem is I can't even get my own stuff done, much less help somebody else out. So, it's just one of those things. And yes, one of these days I'd love to get up to Canada and take a look at Sparky's, triple deck layout. I'd love to get up there. So, I'd love to get up there. I'd love to be able to get up and catch up with John number 2 up at Schuylkill. Eventually, I'd like to be able to get out to see Bob out there at the PKNW. Even though I've met him, I'd love to be able to get out there and see that space that he's working on. That thing is, whew. That space is nice. But yeah, I mean, it's and the Sparky just mentioned it. Not that one. The thing of it is, and I've mentioned it, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Yeah, I have the meet and greet in October, which there will be another one this year. There will be another meet and greet after the Great Scale Model Train Show on Saturday in October. But if you're ever in the area, hit me up. Or if you're going to be in the area, don't hit me up once you're here. Hit me up to let me know that you're going to be in the area. Let's see. Rail Artist, are you near Annapolis? I am about 45 minutes to an hour north of Annapolis. But yes, I'm fairly close. Fairly close. There you go. There you go. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Bob. I mean, shoot, I'd even come up there and help you put the layout together if you wanted it. If I was a little bit closer. I know that Rodney's been hitting me up, and I know he's not in here tonight, but he's still working on, trying to get his layout put back together. But it is what it is. What are the October dates? That's a great question there, Grandpa. Let's see, GSMTS. Let's see, Great Scale Model Train Show. Let's see. Show dates. Show dates. Oh, come on. Huh. Boy, they really pushed it out this year. Usually it's earlier in the month. This year it's on the 25th and 26th. If you're interested, this is the link to the Great Scale Model Train Show. I can't believe it's that late. That's insane. That is insane. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Exactly, JP. And I'll never forget. I don't know if Anthony's still in here or not from the Georgia Sun Belt. I'll never forget the first time that he came over here. And he came down the steps and got down, I think it was like the third step from the bottom, and he actually sat down the steps, and I looked at him and said, "You all right, Anthony?" He says, "Yeah." He says, "I'm just taking it all in." He says, "This is bigger in person than what it was what it is on the videos." And I'm like, okay. You tell people it's 34 feet by 8 feet, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's 34 feet by 8 feet. Wonderful. Until you actually come down the steps and see the thing, it's like, holy crap, wow. It's a huge undertaking that I've got going on back there. It is. And I'll get there eventually. I will get it done. But at any rate, yeah, I know. I oh, yeah, I'm one of these days I am, and I can tell you I'm probably not. Here it is. We've been talking about this off and on for a couple of years now. Everybody says you got to get up to Amherst. You got to get up to Amherst. Well, that monkey wrench there's been another monkey wrench thrown into that for 26, so I'm probably not going to make 26 either. So, but we'll see. Things can change, but I still do want to get up there and see and get up there to Amherst and see what that's all about. I understand it's huge, and you know, the funniest thing of it is one of my coworkers lives like right near the thing, and he's like, I always go just to see what's going on. He says, I'm not even in the model railroading. He said, it just amazes me when I walk into those halls and see this stuff. He says, that's what impresses the heck out of me. I'm like, cool. So, yeah. Wait a minute, I was trying to pick on. There we go. Always bigger in person to laugh out loud. Yeah, and you have it. You have to. There's so much outside of this hobby that can drive you absolutely insane. And of course, most of you all know. I mean, this isn't the only hobby I've got. I've got my bowling on Friday nights. And of course, we always kid about it. When we're done on Friday nights, it's like we actually pay for this abuse. We actually walk through the door, give them the $25 that we pay them to go ahead and throw that night. And it's like, and we pay for this. We pay to frustrate the living crap out of ourselves for 2.5, 3 hours or whatever it is. I think it's probably closer to 2.5 hours. But, it's like we do that. We don't do this for fun. We're doing it for just like the crap out of ourselves. So, it's, yeah, you got to, if and you can't take yourself too seriously either. You got to have fun with this. If not, you'll drive yourself insane. But most of us are, like JD just said, most of us are already insane. So, hobby is over until the sledgehammers come out. Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh. Let's see. My mother-in-law would ask my wife if I should be spending my time and money on trains in the garage. My wife said it could be girls and bars. Uh-huh. That was, it was funny years ago when my parents were alive. Somebody had asked my mom about, my dad spending all the money that he had on his boat. And she's like, well, I know where he's at. During the summertime, he's on the boat. He's tinkering on the boat. He's messing around with the boat. Of course, that was a family thing, but we would all go down there on Friday afternoons, and my dad would show up Friday night after work. Then we'd spend all weekend on the boat, and he'd go home. Sometimes he would go home Sunday night. Sometimes all of us would go home Sunday night, but because he had to go to work Monday morning, he would go home, and then we would stay down until Monday morning, and then we would pack up and come home. But that's the thing. You've got to have you've got to have a release. You've got to have a release. At the end of the day, you have to have some sort of an outlet. So I have been at this for almost an hour and a half, and I really do appreciate you all hanging out with me. I think somebody had just put something up a little bit ago that we're at 28 or something like that, 30 something. Doesn't matter to me. I love the fact that everybody was here. Of course, I was kidding around in the very beginning. It was only Al and myself, and I was like in the chat, and it was like 10 minutes before everything got started. I'm like, where is everybody? Did I forget to put this up? But yeah, I do have fun with this, or I try to, and there goes Emma. What you doing, girly? Huh? You gonna come over and say hi? Hmm? You gonna come over and say hi? Oh my goodness. All right, folks. Well, in case I forgot about it, Bob over at PKNW has next week again. And then I have the weekend after that because of the fact that John is still on hiatus because of tax season. So make sure that you check out, make sure you're subscribed to Bob over at PKNW. And you all know the deal. Wait for the eyeball. Green tracks ahead. Be safe. God bless. We will catch y'all next time, and we'll see you.